Welcome to Tigers Untapped, a Bluff City Media podcast. Stepping up to the microphones are your hosts, Trey Lasley and TJ Willis. Pull up your chair, grab your favorite brew, and enjoy the conversation. Now, let's get to the show.
What up? It's game week, TJ. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. It's weird. I think
the whole entire neighborhood can hear you.
Face mask keeps hitting my mic. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
We can hear you. I think everyone can hear you.
Week 1 is finally here, TJ.
It did feel like it was crawling the past couple of weeks. It was nice to have week 0 though.
Week 0 is a nice little. I got to take this off. It's going to give me a headache.
Yeah, week 0 is a nice little touch. I think I knew where you're going with that. It's a nice little.
It's a little app. You get a little app on the
Forge de
side.
oeuvre.
Little jalapeno poppers for the boys.
Yeah, man. You okay over there? You got to get situated.
Getting settled in.
I know. The helmet was an interesting take. We'll just say that.
It's game week.
I get it.
Tej, how was your weekend?
It's good, man. I didn't do too much. How was yours?
It was good. Stayed in town for the first time in what feels like, I don't know, 3 months.
It does seem like 3 months.
Much needed.
We went to dinner. That's what we did this weekend.
We did. We went to dinner Friday.
I had to think about it for a second.
SOB East, we had a group of 14, and we ordered 13 burgers.
It was a little less than that. I did the math. I think it was like down to 9, but still.
It felt like that.
It did feel like a lot.
Out of 14 people, somehow my meal, we were there with our wives, 7 couples. My burger comes out 40 minutes before anyone else. So I just sat there and ate by myself where everybody else talked. Somehow my meal got put on a separate ticket was the explanation. But that was...
Yeah, it did seem a little gratuitous how quickly it came out compared to
first time
else.
with the SOB burger, and it was good.
It's a good burger, man.
It was a good burger.
Trey, today we are working with Forager from Crosstown.
I don't know. You guys you're not going to be able to see this on the show. I don't know what Timothy has done with these cans, but it looks like he threw them in the driveway and then ran over them 3 or 4 times. I also had to wash the top of it off because there was, it looked like maple syrup or something that you had spilled all over them.
I don't know what that is. They came.
Maybe it's the honey from the
I
bee.
got them that way. I'm not going to lie. They came to me a very dirty can. They have been
I don't know.
battered and bruised.
TJ's showing the can, but you know what I'm showing? It's the official koozie of Tigers Untapped right there. You guys come out this weekend to the Liberty Bowl, Tiger Lane, D27 at the BCM tailgate. Look for the flags. They'll be flying high.
Yeah.
Get yourself a Tigers Untapped
Do you know
coos.
what's the tailgate? What's the
number?
Yeah, the number.
D27, I said that.
D27.
About 30
I just want to
seconds.
reiterate it. Really pound it in there. D27.
If you're not familiar with the numbering system or how to find that, it's on the back of the parking space. Maybe covered up. Just look. We'll have two big BCM flags waving out there.
Yeah, it's kind of
follow
off
the
to the
flags.
right of the fountain.
Yeah,
if you're looking
on
at
the
the stadium.
right side of the fountain, if you're looking at the stadium.
Yeah.
Over there. So should be a good time. We'll have food, bev. You get to hang out with TJ and I pregame. I think some of the other personalities will be there.
I don't know if it's really about hanging out with us. I mean, I guess that's cool, but like we hang out
Free
with us all the
merch.
time. But yeah, just stop by. Come
say what's up.
Yeah, just drop a fist bump in there and grab a coos.
Should be a good time.
Yeah.
TJ, game week. We got the official depth chart today.
Yeah.
Monday. I'll say this. We had a buddy text us earlier today asking about when it was coming out. We said it should be out today. He in tune said, how many oars, over under 2 oars listed? And TJ and I were both like, can you do that times 5? Because
Yeah.
it's going to be way more than
Crush
2
the
oars.
over on that.
What was it, 8 oars or something like that?
I think it was 8 or 9, depending on if you
3
use the triple or.
3 on the offense,
At running
2
back.
at running back because you had Blake Watson, Sutton Smith, and Jay Ducker all listed at oars.
Yeah.
Right tackle Xavier Hill and Terrence McLean are the oars. So you got 3 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on defense. The entire secondary basically is an oar, with the exception of Simeon Blair,
Yeah.
who's got Joel Williams behind him. And anything stuck out, surprises to you on the depth chart, TJ?
Yeah. I mean, generally, I think that you and I kind of went back and forth at right tackle and who we thought was going to be the guy. We thought it was going to be McLean. We also mentioned that Hill had been practicing right tackle. That it was definitely someone they were considering. And Hill won out. I guess you could say
At least
it's an
for
or.
week 1.
Yeah, it is an or. It is week 1. It's early on. That's it for me on offense. Was there anyone that stood out to you?
I mean, I know you had said this from the wide receiver group, but I am a little bit surprised to see Skates and not Dove.
Yeah,
You got Dove backing up Rock with Blinkumsky and then Skates. And then I feel like Kobe on the out. He's listed as a backup. I mean, I guess. I don't know. See, he feels like more of an inside guy, Kobe does.
No, he's yeah, I mean, yes, I see what you're saying. Yes. But I mean, I think there's also benefit to him being on the outside because now he can kind of breaking routes and stuff inside. It kind of lets him play in space a little bit.
Yeah.
A little different than slot, but
I will say, you're not surprised by old Gridiron Penny as the solo backup to Seth? But you're a big Cade guy.
no, that was sarcasm.
Okay.
Sarcasm.
So other than that,
You knew it was going to be him.
yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the double or, 3 or for the running backs.
Okay, would you rather them done
One is
the old
cool and then
school
have like a third
running
guy.
back tailback situation like
Well,
the Norvell used to
I
have?
wouldn't have been surprised by that. You have Blake and Jay listed as the or at running back, and then Sutton as a
It's
tailback.
the tailback.
They kind of got away from that though, but that was.
I think it was more of a
That was
Mike
kinda,
thing.
yeah, that was kind of silly. All right, what about defense? I feel like there's a little bit more surprises on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to say this isn't like a real depth chart by any means.
It's just not set. Like
It's not set.
going into Arkansas State, there could be plenty of changes.
Sure. And I think that we're going to see some changes. I mean, arguably the biggest for me is Bear Anderson at the nose tackle, Jara Anderson.
Yeah, I mean that is definitely one that sticks out. Not only, I just feel like we haven't heard anything really about him, but 2, he's a true freshman, the only true freshman listed on the entire 2 deep.
Yeah.
I think we
mean-
were talking about it before. I want to say Greg was the last
Yeah.
true freshman that
probably true.
started.
Yeah, that's probably true. I was trying to think of Mashburn maybe, but this may have been the same class.
And I feel like they were redshirt though. Didn't they redshirt
Yeah.
their first years?
Maybe so.
But yeah, Bear Anderson out there, true freshman. We'll see.
Which
But
is-
he is an or, right, with Spears there. So
Yeah.
could be one or the other, but still impressive to see the freshman at Katy, Texas there.
For me, it's shocking because he's listed at 6'2", 260.
Yeah,
and he is
that's a slender nose tackle.
the nose tackle who is lined up inside shoulder
a little like
of the center.
Rudy Rudiger.
Yeah, so you're talking about most offensive linemen roughly 300 pounds most of the time. They've automatically got a 400-pound jump on this guy, and he's for lack of a better word, he's a kid, right? I mean, he's
Yeah.
a true freshman. So interesting to say the least. It is an or. Keontae Spears is someone we mentioned that they have been talking a lot on. I kind of expected him to be in there, but whatever. When we went over our depth chart, we said there was a big question mark there. I didn't know where they're going to go with it.
Well, there's also, it just shows how much depth there is on the D line too, I think, right? You've got from the DN position, nose tackle and D tackle, you got 3 sets of oars in all spots right there. I think for me, one that was surprising as well was Cormonte not only being listed as an or with Whitlow, but being listed second.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily mean that he's the second guy,
Sure,
but
sure,
it is interesting to see. We both said we felt like Cormonte had defensively for the team, like one of the better statistical seasons last year, especially from the defensive line position. Like, definitely didn't expect to see Whitlow listed there as an or. You felt like that was Cormonte's spot, but
Felt like it was a lock.
maybe it's some kind of motivation thing,
Yeah, it could very well be something like that. I mean,
Like,
Cormonte,
hey, this isn't. You got to stay on your game every day. This
Sure.
isn't just your spot, right? Like,
I mean,
it can be taken from you.
he was a roughly 60 tackle, 4.5 sack guy last year. Like he had a very quiet, very productive season. Like I don't think enough was said about Cormonte, so I thought it was a lock coming into this season.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the depth chart and you're like, okay, interesting. And I'm not against Whitlow by any means. I think he's very talented, but he's typically been in some of the backup role.
Yeah.
At that same position there. So interesting. Just to kind of go through a couple more. Nozai Brockington, I kind of thought we would see him on there. Derek Hunter, I thought maybe he was going to be the nose tackle.
What's the more surprise with the old Trench baby there, though? There's something else that stands
Don't
out.
listen to this roster. He's not 265.
That
That
dude's
is a
not.
grown-ass refrigerator
That's the biggest
size
265 I've ever seen.
Oh, he's huge. Huge. He's,
pushing 3 bills.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, 6'5", 300 pound is a large human being, and he's every bit of the
that.
size of a refrigerator.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, he's a brick
not
house.
this Frigidaire. That would
Not
be
that
concerning.
Frigidaire. Correct.
But a large man.
He is a quite large man. I don't have anything against Sincere at the linebacker position. I kind of thought we would get Bryce Edmonds in there, but Sincere, 6'4", senior, local kid. He kind of went away, I think, to Coastal Carolina, realized what a mistake it was to get away from the delicious barbecue here, made his way back home.
Yeah.
And now he's getting the start as a senior. It's great.
It is interesting that none of the linebacker spots have any OR listed.
Yeah.
So you feel like those are probably pretty set. I
Pretty
mean, I'm sure
straightforward.
there's going to be some rotation there, right? But based on this, you got Chandler Martin, Jeff, and Sincere as your starting middle layer there on the defense.
Yeah.
One thing, we did skip over the buck or that kind of rush in with Jalen. Obviously, he's got a lockdown, but were
Yes.
you surprised to see Andres Fox there? I mean, that's a guy that we kind of he quietly joined the team, I feel
He
like.
did very quietly join.
And now there he is, listed right behind Jalen.
I don't remember what he was coming out of high school, but he was a super highly rated outside linebacker, rush end.
He was fringe 4-star, was he not?
I think he was definitely a 4-star, I think. Well, he could have been a high 3, but it was a guy who was one of the top 300 recruits.
Yeah.
6'5", 240, every bit physically of a very good rush end. And went and spent some time at Stanford. Never really got on the field. I think he dealt with some injuries and then maybe went to Fresno State.
Yep.
And then now is finishing up here at Memphis. But not surprised at all. I think that is a fantastic person to come off the edge to kind of relieve Jalen. Sorry, I'm trying to look this up at the same time. But no, not shocked there at all. That one makes perfect sense to me. I did have some questions on the corner because you and I both agreed that it would be Feaster and Ross. Depth chart comes out and Ross is playing that hybrid safety outside linebacker position.
Yeah, I did not anticipate that sort of Austin Hall spot. I felt like last year Ross showed the most potential and looked like the best corner.
Sure.
So that's definitely something that kind of caught me off guard there. I don't hate it, but he is listed as an OR with our guy Coffee. So it'll be interesting to see the two of those play in that kind of star spot. But it looks like, again, from everywhere but the safety spot that Simeon Blair's got locked down, the secondary's still kind of not really set.
Yeah. And that's the thing. How many times have they told us that this is the deepest secondary we've had? And you look at it, and DJ Bell, 6'2", 180, they've played him a ton. I would love for him to get snaps. I mean, that's a freshman.
I mean, him and somebody we've talked about the last couple of years, and Julian Barnett, both 6'2", 180, 190, got bigger bodied DBs.
The bigger DBs. I'm telling you, in the American, that makes such a difference.
Oh, yeah.
Because most corners, most DBs are, the 6 foot, they label them as 6 foot, but it's like a 5'9" corner type of situation. So to have 2 6'2" guys out there, I mean, that's big size, right? Especially when you're lined up, going back to last year, Rashee Rice, a bigger physical wide receiver, someone like that. Like having a 6'2" corner is incredible. Like that puts you at an advantageous
There's not a
position on the defense.
4 or 5 inch height difference.
Yeah, you have a chance there. Diego Brumfield, someone we talked about last week that I was like, hey, I've seen him out there a lot. Like, where are we going with this? Like, is this guy kind of looked just like some depth pushed in, and now he's at the starting corner with an OR on Malik Feaster? Are they just trying to get him some run in game time to see what he looks like, or is this the real thing?
Yeah. Again, I think there's still probably things that they're working out. There's still position battles going on, and this isn't going to be set. I wouldn't even say Arkansas State is probably still not set.
Sure.
Truly.
I do. One thing that made me feel comfortable was looking at special teams. I know that sounds so dumb, but like, there's no ORs. It seems like it's
and which is weird because I think I don't remember if it was Silverfield or Coach White kind of alluded to the fact that there might still be like at least from a place kicking standpoint, that there's a little bit of competition, but it is, at least depth chart wise, it looks like it is Seth Morgan that'll be kicking field goals, with Vandenberg doing kickoffs, and then obviously Reed at the punting.
Yeah.
Any surprises back there from the returner situation though? We've heard a lot about Sutton, but he's not listed as a punt return. That's your boy Kobe, like you predicted. Followed up with Blankumsky, and then Davion Ross and Blankumsky on the kick returns with or Sutton there.
Sure. That'll be interesting to see what they do. I think Davion Ross is going to be the primary return guy.
Right.
It's that second position. I guess that's truly dependent on which one just scored the touchdown, right? Was it going to be Demir or was it Sutton? Whoever's just scoring the 50-yard touchdown, they're going to put the other guy in. I think that's what they're doing there.
Yeah. There you go.
Not surprised by Kobe, though. So sure-handed, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he may not get one all the way back, but he's going to field that damn thing every time.
Yeah.
Anybody you were surprised to not see listed on the 2 deep this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about maybe Zy Brockington, a guy who's played a lot of snaps in there. I kind of expected him to see him kind of sprinkled in there. Not listed, so... trying to think of anyone else on defense.
What about our boy Joyner?
Yeah, Jalen Joyner got there kind of late, and I'm curious if that is a situation where they really like the DM position right now between Cormonte Hamilton and Whitlow, trying to just figure out what's going on there because he's very similar to them in the same mold of that defensive end position. And I also think it depends who they play. But when we get to Navy, this whole depth chart on the D-line is going to change up.
Right, yeah.
So I imagine it will change in some facet at least, right? So there's totally a chance you could see him there. Jalen Thomas is another guy who just got here. You don't see him on there, but he's a talented guy. So where will he fit into this whole rotation as well?
Sure. All right. Well, we are on to week 1. It is officially game week, 6 p.m. at Simmons Bank. Got Bethune Cookman, the Wildcats coming to town. They are off back-to-back 2-9 seasons. New coach Raymond Woody Jr. Actually played at Bethune Cookman. He's an alumni there. He's recently been linebacker special team coach, South Florida, Oregon, Florida State, Florida Atlantic. So been down there in that Florida region. I think he's a Tampa guy originally. Making his first stop. He's a much more defensive-minded guy, but first stop as a head coach down there for the Wildcats in Daytona Beach. TJ, what can we expect on Saturday? I mean, this has got to be beat down, suck a beat down.
It does feel like it should be pretty easy. I don't want to say easy. That's just
easy is
easy is probably the right word though. It should be an easy win for the Tigers, right? Blake Mayfield put out an article, so you go check that out. Blake has an article kind of giving you a little bit more information on Bethune Cookman. Don't let Trey and I pretend like we know much about FCS Bethune Cookman. We don't.
We're just two uber mayonnaise dudes.
Just two uber and mayonnaise dudes. I do know that they have hit the portal. They have brought in a couple of guys, relatively talented guys. I mean, in the grand scheme of things of FBS.
I mean,
FCS.
you got guys going down a level to play at the FCS level. I think he had a former East Carolina quarterback. Yeah, that's not, I mean, they're going to have guys that can play football. It's just, I mean, this should be a 6-7 touchdown game.
I don't like comparing it to the last time they've played Power 5.
I mean, here's the thing. You got Coach Woody coming in there, and he's basically come out and said it's a total culture reset.
Sure.
Like, maybe if he'd been there for a little while, he's able to establish his culture. He's got a little pipeline to some states. He's bringing guys in. He's established his coaching staff, his system. But when you're doing a cultural reset, and this is game 1, week 1, no, I mean, this got to be like 63-3 or something.
That seems a little intense for me personally. I do think that the Tigers are going to win pretty
Look,
handily.
all I'm saying is today, Coach Silverfield talked about how explosive we were at all 3 levels, offense, defense, and special teams. I'm expecting also, not just from the run out and the new pyrotechnics, I'm expecting explosiveness all throughout Simmons Bank on Saturday.
Yeah, and I don't think that's unheard of, right? I mean, we've seen them play.
Well, we've lacked a little bit of explosiveness the last couple of years.
Sure, that's fair. That is definitely fair. Except, we did have, depending on how you look at that, I think if you looked at like explosive plays greater than 40 yards, we were really high up there, but not on anything over 20 and 60 or something. Yeah. Very specific statistic there.
Pick some stats to make it look better.
Sure. But no, I do think it's going to be, what year was it? We opened up with Mercer. Was that 21 or it's something like that, right? Mercer is a good.
I want to say that was Brady's first year, like 2018.
2018. I was kind of thinking 2018 at first too. But yeah, something like that, right? It's going to be a game like that where you win handily. For me,
September 1st, 2018, we won 66-14. I'm expecting the same thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty close. We
were up 56-0 at half.
Yeah.
I mean, I need that again.
What was the Southern's finish? Do you remember that one?
We ended up winning by like 30.
It was kind of dicey for
the first half. They were running that
there,
wouldn't necessarily
the spread option.
Yeah, the spread option, and we were struggling for a little. I mean, I want to say it was 21-14, like midway through the second quarter.
Yeah, it was a little dicey for a second there.
We cannot have that at all.
No. I'm not worried about that. I'll jump into score prediction. I think it's going to be a 55-14 Memphis victory.
55-14. So there's not a line on this. It's not available on the sportsbooks. They don't do the FCS.
FCS stuff.
I was going to set one and get your feedback. I was going to set it at 42.5. You take the over? Or you take the Tigers? No.
42.5 is a lot of points.
It is a lot of
points.
points,
That is an absurd amount of points.
We should beat them by that much.
Dude, 42 points. Here's the
38.5.
With this game, what's the one thing that we have really wanted Ryan to and that team to do?
Curb stomp someone.
Yes, I would love for that as well. Maybe not curb stomping. That's pretty vulgar. But just run the damn ball successfully.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. Do we break the non-100 yard rushing?
Yes.
We have. Let's have two.
I don't think you're going to have two just because so many guys are going to touch the ball. I do think that Blake Watson will break 100 yards.
I think Sutton and Blake will break 100.
I think Sutton will get probably 7 carries, but then yeah. It is the thing, is I think the Tigers are going to get really big, and it's just going to be handoff, and they're going to crush the clock. And I think it's going to be.
I would love us to get up really big and to see some gridiron Penny out there just slinging that thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all. I think this is definitely a perfect game for Tevin to play the entire fourth quarter.
Because if we get 56-0, let's see at half, play the whole second half.
Here's the thing.
Throw some Harris Boyd out there in the fourth quarter.
We have not seen a lot of Tevin Carter at all.
We haven't.
Outside of spring games, because even last year.
Well, because we very rarely curb stomp anyone.
Exactly. But even last year when Seth went down, I think for an ankle or an elbow, shoulder, I can't remember what, I think it was his elbow, Glover came in.
Yeah.
And was actually kind of dicing some dudes up, but that's not here nor there.
That old Glover read option was dirty.
It was quite
nerdy. It needed
nerdy.
to be used more frequently.
It did. I would love to see Tevin, honestly. I think it's a thing where it's like.
We need a big TC game on Saturday.
Not even a big one. Just give me something. I want to see him out there. And it's not just like handing off the ball. I want him to see him make a read, right? We just haven't seen him do anything outside of the spring game.
Yeah. I mean, that one bomb to.
That one bomb. Are you kidding me?
Was great.
To Eric Rivers?
2 years. No, I'm talking about in the past spring game. He threw one to Blankumsky.
Blankumsky, yeah.
I'm sorry. I just got totally thrown off because I saw this picture that Blake included in his article, and these Bethune Cookman uniforms.
That's not real.
Are atrocious.
I can't believe that's a real jersey.
I mean, that's.
You can't see, but basically they're maroon with
yellow. I mean, they look like
stripes,
maroon.
Vertical stripes like a ref would have.
Yeah, like
there's
referee.
no way that's allowed.
It looks like Minnesota created referee uniforms.
Like University of Minnesota, the Gophers.
Yeah. That's horrible. I hope they do not wear those.
No, I don't think they'll wear that because.
What do you think we're wearing?
Oh, that's. I mean,
it's got to be 901.
It's the 90. It's gonna be a white helmet, blue 901 sticker, blue jersey, white pants. I think that's set in stone, right?
Yeah, I think that's got to be it. It's gonna be something like that.
Now that I said it's set in stone, it's probably not going to be that. But
I would be shocked if it's not the 901. All right, what did you say your score prediction was? I never gave
55 to 14.
55-14. That feels good. I'm going to go 63-7.
They need a 63-point game.
I would love that to start the year at 63.
First touchdown.
First tutty.
Before you say it, I'm going to cut you off here because we had a going thing last year. First touchdown was Caden prescoring. No, I'm sorry. That our old tight end.
Who cannot be named.
Yeah, our old tight end. It was him first game. I mean, first touchdown every game.
So easy money.
Anthony Lanfear is going to be my first touchdown.
Okay. See, what I want to do, if I could, which you can't because you can't gamble on specific college players in Tennessee, but I would sprinkle some on a defensive touchdown first.
That'd be nice. Or opening kickoff.
Or that.
Could you imagine how wild
they did? Gosh, you remember was that 17?
I don't know how you pull these things from the back of your mind.
What?
But I know exactly where you're going with it.
Yeah, we played, I don't even remember. I think it was Louisiana Monroe. And it was, I can't remember which jeweler it was, but they did the promotion.
We were at the beach.
Yeah, we were. But we have a good buddy, like one of our best friends' brother did it. So it was, if they returned the kickoff either of the opening, either half.
Yeah,
if it
either
was the
half
opening kickoff of the game or the halftime kickoff.
It was Robert Irwin.
Robert Irwin. There you go. If you bought any jewelry leading up to that, it was free.
If they returned it for kickoff.
Yeah. If they did it. That was the monsoon game, hurricane, whatever.
Yeah.
We have a buddy who bought his engagement ring, got it totally free because Tony Pollard took it back to the house after halftime.
It was wild.
So insane. Was that 17? I think it was.
I'm trying to do the math. Yeah, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I think that's right. No.
6 years ago.
6 years ago, because John's a year older than me.
Yeah.
Player of the game. Players. I'll do one offensive, one defensive.
I'm going to go Sutton.
Okay.
Offensive. Defensive. Let's go Ruben. Back there at safety, I think he gets a pick or two.
That'd be nice. I would love to see Ruben
Maybe that's my first tutty.
succeed at defense.
I never gave
safety.
you my first tutty. You said Lanfear. I never gave one.
Yeah, you said a defensive touchdown very vaguely.
I know. I got to give a player. If this happens, you're going to owe me $1,000. But I'm going to say Greg Ruben.
Kenny will owe you $1,000.
Kenny, one of you's owing me $1,000. I don't care who writes the check. Greg Ruben, pick 6.
All right.
First series of the game.
If it's going to be one offensive, one defensive, I will say Seth Hennigan for my offensive player because I do expect them to have a really good game. Defensively,
Even only playing a half. Ooh, you know what would have been a good hot pick, a hot take? Would have been Tevin.
That would be a hot pick, especially since he is going to have the lead pretty handily at halftime. Wouldn't expect much there.
It's possible.
Defensively, I'm going to say it's hard for me to not pick Sim Dog back there. I want him to have such a good game. Simeon Blair.
Even having been one of the worst rated PFF
I don't
defensive
care
players.
about that stat. That stat is so flawed.
I'm just going to be honest. It concerns me a little bit.
Here's the thing.
That the best player on our team was one of the worst rated secondary out of like 850 players in the country.
Yeah, but here's the thing with that. There's no context with that.
I get it. I'm just saying.
It's still were they touchdowns against him because the corner just bailed out and it was like one man on two deep?
Quite frankly, I don't really care.
I can't say I watched enough Arkansas football to understand it. Maybe we need to revisit why Barry Odom was looking elsewhere for a head coaching job. That defense was atrocious. I don't think that was Simeon's fault by any means.
Well, that's probably true.
Stupid stat.
So Sim Dog, is that official? Like
I think it's actually his. Maybe I made that up.
I
thought it was
his X handle.
I thought that was one of his handles. Maybe I made that up.
Simi, if you're watching, we know that you are. Let us know if that confirm or deny whether Sim Dog is your gamer tag.
I can confirm.
It is.
See, there it is. Yeah. I'm just saying, like
TJ talks about me pulling obscure facts. He knows like every player's handle.
That's not true. That's just
Speaking of, they named the captains. Did y'all see that?
They did name the
Remind
captain.
me.
I know exactly who they are, and they nailed
Jonah,
it.
Seth.
What?
I thought it was Jonah.
No. Jacob.
Jacob. That's what I meant. Jacob. Why is that so funny?
Because you're wrong.
It's two guys that have been here long. They're similar.
Likes has been here longer.
Okay.
He said this was the first time he had a player voted captains.
Really?
This is player voted.
Silverfield said that?
Yep.
So how much does
nailed
that? How much does that say? You got Seth, Jacob, Jalen Allen, and Simeon Blair, who was an Arkansas captain. But how impressive to come in as a transfer, first year. You've been through one spring and half of a fall camp, and you get voted a team captain.
Look,
That says a lot to me.
it's why your stat is so dumb.
It's not my stat. I don't work.
Then
for
quit bringing it
I
up.
don't work for PFF.
This is dumb stat.
I don't know.
I thought we didn't like PFF.
We don't care, dude. We're just out here talking ball.
We're just talking ball, Kenneth.
I mean, have you ever
Just two dudes
heard?
balling, talking.
Have you ever heard Ryan Silverfield talk about a player the way he's talked about Simeon Blair?
No, literally no.
I'm just saying.
Rumor
it's
has it.
slightly concerning.
That they are considering renaming Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium Simeon Blair
Liberty Stadium.
Liberty Stadium.
I can confirm that actually.
I'm letting you know when you see the mock-up come out, you heard it here first, folks. Simeon Blair.
Simeon Bear.
Well, he was talking. It messed me up.
Sorry.
Simeon Blair Liberty Stadium.
Not Simdog Stadium.
That would be cooler.
So kind of like how it's the
Sim Dog.
bounce house. It's the Simeon Blair Liberty Stadium, and it's called Sim Dog.
Ever bring up the bounce house? It's
called the Sim Dog.
again.
Yeah, I can confirm.
Disgusting.
Simeon Blair Liberty Stadium.
Speaking of the Sim Dog, we found out what the new exciting changes. A couple of changes on Tiger Lane. I think they're gonna have like a full fan tailgating area with food and stuff for the kids and all sorts of stuff. And then changing the run out. There's no more Tiger Head inflatable, which I'm going to be honest, was never a fan of.
It was just kind of
so amateur hour.
childish. Yeah. It's great for kids. I would love to have that out there and like
have
my
it on
son run
Tiger
through it.
Lane like they do it so kids can run through it.
Yeah.
That's great. Looks good. Fun. That's great. Family fun. I'm all about this. I don't know exactly what it is. I think Kenny's got some ideas that he won't share with us. Something to do with the garage door.
I would just say
They're going to be shaking that thing like a tiger cage.
You're
going to
have
all sorts
multiple-
of pyro going.
you're going to have multiple lines of sight that you're going to have to keep your eyes on during the pregame stuff. During the. I mean, it is not going to be just centered around the garage door anymore.
Interesting.
Okay. I will say when I envision
love
this,
that garage door.
It's that garage door. There's smoke. There's blue laser lights. That's what I picture. Blue laser lights
With some fire.
with fire.
A lot of fire. I wish we had the LED lights, like I sent you a video of Jordan Hare the other day.
At Auburn.
I wish we had the ability to do that where we could shut the lights off and flicker stuff different colors after touchdowns or start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I think we have those damn halogen lights. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the old school.
You turn them off. If they go off, you got to let them cool down for 15 minutes before you flick them back on. And
Yeah.
they take 25 minutes to get fully lit. You imagine if we scored a touchdown, they turn the lights off, we can't start again for like 15 minutes?
I don't know. Maybe that's a part of the renovations.
I would hope so. Can we get
LED
some
lights.
LED lights in there? I think so. If you look at the mock-ups, it looks like they're using more
can tell what type
state-of-the-art
of
lighting.
light
With the
bulbs they're
blue,
using?
they had blue around the halo. That's got to be LED.
They have blue around it now.
That's true. It's on the ground, though. That's just bulbs.
Do you think it's going to be any different?
I think it's going to be totally different.
Me too.
No, I think with that, I just feel like the stadium renovation specifically, I'm not shocked if all they do is just rip out the bathrooms that like circle or the outside that close off the walls essentially. Like if you picture walking around the stadium, there's just random walls. And that's like concessions and bathrooms.
I don't know what they need to fix in bathrooms. We've talked about this before, but I never want to walk in there and see a turd floating through the concourse ever again.
Yeah, that was a problem.
And it may be my fault we're not in Power 5 conference because I keep tweeting that video like once a year. And if people or presidents are seeing that we have turds floating around the concourse, then we don't stand
I think
a
you're
chance.
part of the problem at this point.
I may be.
No, my whole point is I think rip away those outer walls from the concourse. Leave like obviously the structural integrity walls, right? But just like the bathrooms up being on the outside, it closes it off. It just kind of makes it feel like a concrete jungle, essentially.
Yeah.
I think if you get rid of that a little bit, it opens it up so much more. More breeze can come in, more light comes in.
Can we get I agree with that. I'm just thinking about the video I sent you. Can we get like a stadium song? If you guys are listening to the marketing department in Memphis, can we get like and it can't, don't give me the Sweet Caroline.
Here's the problem. If you're
crap.
going to get Sweet Caroline.
Can we get a freaking Memphis song that we sing the stadium, all 20,000 of us on Saturday night? That's what I was going to ask you next. What do you think the attendance is?
Depends. Do you think it's by tickets sold or heads counted? There's some discrepancy here.
Whatever. Just whatever's announced. I think they use ticket sold. What do you think they announce?
If it's, I'm going off tickets sold.
Okay. That's fine.
33,000.
I think that's fair.
You know, you got the
I think you get-
we win, you win promo.
Right. So I think you're going to get some out of that. You've obviously already got 11,000 season tickets.
Yeah, whatever that
the
number
student
is.
count. I think that promo definitely helps. I think just being the first game of the year, people are wanting to get back out and see football live.
Sure.
So that helps out, right? Obviously. I think that's a fair number. I think you can get, gosh.
If it's also
probably gonna be-
24,000, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like 27.5.
The weather's going to be nice.
Well, it's a night game.
Like,
That
what are
helps.
we doing?
Weather should be good. It's going to be a night game. We got a Bluff City tailgate. People should be flocking in for that. Koozies. We got 150 koozies to give out.
We got 33,000 koozies if you guys all show up.
Well, I don't know that we can keep that promise.
Kenny has them all. Ask Kenny for them.
Yeah, they're in my house, and Tracy's mad at me right now.
Well, hey, we'll get rid of them Saturday when everybody shows up.
Exactly.
So be at Simmons Bank Saturday, 6 p.m. If you're not, tune in on ESPN Plus. We need all the eyeballs cheering the Tigs on. Do you like having a cupcake week one? I do.
I think
I'm
I
just
do.
being honest.
Because there's some kinks
Because
gotta
you know
get
what
worked out.
sucked was last year getting stomped by Mississippi State week one. We were at the beach. It ruined everything. And there's nothing worse than losing the first game of the season and feeling like the season's ruined. Let
Yeah.
me ease into it. Football's back. Win a game. You can watch the other games without any I'll be able to enjoy Florida State LSU on Sunday because we'll have beaten Bethune easily Saturday. Like, give me a cupcake. Ease into it. Get a little bit of a feel for what the team looks like. Work some kinks out. And we go into Jones Boogie the next week. And
I think it depends. So if you think back last year.
well, if you think the 2019 first game was Ole Miss and we pulled it off and that was exciting and that was fun. But
I was going to say, if you think back last year, we played, I think, Arkansas State twice, as the second team.
we did not play them twice last
We
year.
played them. They were the second team we played.
Okay.
Their first game was
TJ's
Ohio State.
got us playing 3-game series these days in football
Their first game was Ohio State. Like, obviously, they're going to go into that getting smacked by Ohio State.
and get
Except
injured. And
They kind of hung around for a second there. But then by the time they came to the Memphis game, they were battle tested. Like, hey, look, we did this with Ohio State for a brief second. And now we just got to face Memphis. Like, I get, like, I don't like building a false sense of accomplishment at the same time, right? Like, I don't want to go out and smack Bethune and now we think that we are a offensive and defensive juggernaut because we
well, I
beat
don't think it's
Bethune.
going to happen.
I don't know. I like the talent. I want to see where
You're
we're
not
at.
going to learn anything really from Saturday. It's
That's
just
not true. I don't know
much.
if that's true.
You're not going to learn much unless we come out and we look like absolute dog do. Then we'll know that we suck.
Yeah.
But I don't expect that to happen.
I think that there's levels of teams you could play in the week one, and we can go from there. Like, I don't think it's got to be Bethune, but like if we came out and played like
Arkansas State week 1.
Arkansas State, Southern Miss, someone that we should beat, but like they're
Still a little bit of
formidable
a test.
opponent.
Yeah, I get you.
MTSU, bring them back.
They got it. They're at Bama.
They're actually on our future.
They're at
back on
Bama
it.
this week.
Good luck with that, Rick.
Yeah, have fun. All right, let's take a break. Come back. We'll talk a little. Where do we hadn't talked about conference realignment a little bit.
Yeah.
Couple press conferences today. Silverfield talked to the media. You had Hargrove. You had Laird Veach talk. Malco's back. We'll talk about that. And then we'll give you updates on where we stand with our college football Thunder picks and what do you call them? TJ's picks?
Fade TJ.
Fade TJ.
That's what it should be
Thunder
called.
picks and Fade TJ. Come back for that. We'll be right back.
Bluff City Media and Bluff City NIL are proud partners of Coaching for Literacy, a Memphis nonprofit using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. When you donate to Bluff City NIL through Coaching for Literacy, your gift is 100% tax deductible. This partnership is a win-win-win. Tiger student athletes win in the NIL landscape, Coaching for Literacy wins by engaging Tiger student athletes in this monumental cause, and most importantly, elementary students in Memphis receive support to become strong readers. To donate today, visit coachingforliteracy.org/bluff-city.
I think this is something that Memphis had 2019, 2018, 2017, something that we saw the whole time. I want to see the units feed off of each other.
Okay.
Special teams, defense, offense, working together to make this team better. When the defense needs the offense to step up and make plays and score points, they go do that. When the offense is sputtering and they need the defense to force a turnover to give a spark or the special teams to get a big return to give the team a spark, go do that. Like, do your job, do what's asked of you, do it to the best of your ability. And when another position group
It's
is struggling,
complimentary.
yes,
right?
play
That's what
complimentary
it is.
football. And that I think that is a big part of what's been missing the last 2 years. So it's just that level of football where everything has to be locked in. It takes a lot to win a football game. It's not easy to win a football game, but you need to play complimentary football because there are going to be games when the offense is not scoring a lot of points and the defense has to step up.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
We know he's not gonna be the starting point guard. That's definitely gonna be Javon Quinley. But I've been kind of looking at this roster, man, and I've been trying to make sense of this. And I've been saying, okay, is he gonna come here and be a third point guard? Is he gonna be playing behind Jalen Young? Jalen Young may be a better point guard than Mikey Williams will be today.
Yeah.
With all the accolades that Mikey's did in high school, that's high school. You know, Jalen Young has played on the highest level. But when I look at the situation with Mikey Williams, like, okay, could he play in the same backcourt with a Jalen Young or Javon Quinley and play a little bit with Caleb Mills as well? Could he be that combo guard that you can use in multiple situations? I wouldn't be totally surprised if not only your backup point guard minutes, but your backup point guard and your backup shooting guard minutes all go to Mikey by the time it's over. He's that good. He's that level of player who, once he figures out the college game,
That's it.
he could get Jalen Young up out of here when he's playing backup point and two.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
What up? Welcome back. Tej, it's been a little while since we've talked conference realignment. We had Laird Veach in company. Talk about it today. Anything stick out to you from that?
No. It's just more.
We're trying, says Hardgrave.
Yeah, it just seems like more of the same stuff that we've always known.
What's his quote? He said,
Oh my God.
we have been, we are in, and we will continue to be in the conversation. We're the best kept secret in athletics, and we shouldn't have to be.
What are your feelings on that?
I hated that line. Hated it.
We shouldn't be a secret.
I don't even think that we're a secret.
I don't either.
I think if you look at in terms of top G5 programs over the last 10 years, arbitrary number.
From that perspective and just basketball, like we're a national brand. People
Yeah, like,
recognize
what are we
us. I
talking
wear
about?
Memphis stuff all over the country and people recognize it.
It's just a silly statement to me.
I was there at the press conference today, and it very much felt like there were a few talking points that Hargrave was kind of, hey, hit these talking points, focus in on these things. And that whole best kept secret one was one of them. He said it multiple times, and I did not like it. I thought it was weird. Not to go too hard on the president of the university, but it definitely felt there was another conversation he had, or there's another thing he said where he talked about talking to different presidents of Power 5 schools, and just it felt so late. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it felt like, wait, this is where we're at? Is that it's late? Or that that's where we're at? That's what we're doing right now? That's our strategy? I don't know, man. It just didn't feel serious at all.
Yeah. I think he did say one thing that I kind of liked was, what did he say, Kenny? It was something like he was asked about discussions with other presidents and if they were negative.
That was Laird Veach.
Oh, that was Veach.
So Veach was asked, and I thought this was a baller statement. He said, when you're asked by other Power 5 schools, ADs, presidents, whoever's in charge of those kind of conversations, what's their perception of Memphis? And his response was, or what are the questions you get about the city of Memphis? And he said, one of the things I've learned in all this is that Memphians are harder on Memphis than people outside of Memphis. And I think that is 1,000% true.
Oh, yeah. I would agree with
spot
that.
on.
I think harder, not just on Memphis, but Memphians on other Memphians. I mean, think about it from a basketball perspective, like with Lomax and Malcolm and guys that come and they suit up for the university. And I feel like a lot of times they get all of the criticism from their own. The Lawsons, all of them.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why they stay away from them these days.
Yeah.
I mean, just kind of, maybe not. I mean, I say that, but like, if Givens ends up here, then like, no one's gonna be like, "Oh, you idiot! Why'd you stay here?"
Billy,
yeah.
No, I 100% agree with that. I think I even tweeted earlier this year, like, most of the time you see stuff on X.com, whatever, negative stuff about Memphis. It's usually Memphians or people that were at one time Memphians but have moved somewhere else.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The whole realignment thing in general is interesting because there's nothing really you can do, right? I mean, like as an administrator, like yes, you can talk to people, but like
Yeah, I mean,
they
it's all
for the most part
money
have their
and-
mind made up.
Yeah.
And like yes, there is some things. There are some things that they can do, right? We've seen it come out. What was it? They talked about the stadium renovations. They've talked about compliance issues. I thought that was real weird.
I wanted to ask you that. I wanted to ask you all about that. I
Well,
haven't
we know
heard
we
that.
have
I haven't
issues.
heard that from anybody in positions of leadership at Memphis or even, at these other schools.
Mm-hmm.
But that was something that three things were mentioned in today's press conference that they have heard from these universities saying these are the issues that we see with the university that we need to see fixed. One of them obviously is the Liberty Bowl being renovated. The second one is the academic status, the R1 status, but there's still work to be done is what they kept saying. So R1 status plus additional things, additional funding, whatever it may be. And then the third one was compliance issues. And that one was new to me. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I mean, we know that our compliance office struggles.
But also, I don't know what that means.
Is that from an athletic standpoint or compliance elsewhere? Athletically, I would take that as like you had the whole 2019 James Wiseman stuff going on. I feel like that's what they're pointing to in that scenario. It's like you've got NCAA issues going on from a compliance standpoint. Like, we don't want to do any touch you.
Yeah, the statement was there were ongoing NCAA compliance issues.
Yeah, that's what it's got to be. I mean, because what? They got Cincy, UCF, they got added in the Big 12 in 21, right? So, like, that's 2 years after all of that stuff kind of came to fruition, and we hadn't heard anything back yet. It hadn't been resolved. It's like,
Well, what's interesting,
I could see people using that as an excuse to be like, well, you guys have some NCAA infraction stuff going on.
Yeah,
like,
I don't want to get my hands dirty.
we're going to stay away from that.
Well, what's interesting about it is if you think about even the outcomes of the IARP, we, media, Memphis fans, whoever, have always looked at the outcome as a win because Penny Hardaway wasn't touched in those, right? Like he wasn't really impacted in a very negative way. Sure. But guess who took the fall in that IARP situation? It was the university saying our compliance department, basically we didn't explain to Penny, or we didn't do right by Penny, or there were some issues there. And even with the latest thing with the 3-game suspension with the, impermissible phone calls in a dead period, it was the narrative that came out was that
He didn't know.
and that compliance didn't have the right information for him to be able to know that he shouldn't make those phone calls. So I wonder if like them taking the fall, them taking the brunt of the blame has kind of negatively impacted their standing within some of those schools.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think that stuff really matters. It's really all just down to money. And from that, like, that's just another excuse. It's just they're pointing to something that they can say that's, hey, you guys have these issues. Get them figured out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't buy the fact that we had some compliance stuff with the whole James Wiseman situation being a reason that we're not in a Power 5 right now.
No, I definitely don't think that plays into it. I do understand generally that the football stadium is older, right? And the Big 12 is familiar with that. They play here every year with the Liberty Bowl.
Yeah.
I get that. The compliance stuff was whatever. I think that was kind of just randomly thrown in there. And then the R1 stuff, I guess I get that, right? I
mean, yeah, they are not a world-renowned academic institution.
We're not. And they just now
But they are making improvements.
Yeah, I say just now. What was it? A year ago?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think about a year ago.
A year and a half ago, they got R1 status. Yeah. They're building the STEM facility now, right at the corner there of Central and the back loop by Omarone. I can't think of the name of that street right now.
Patterson?
No, it's the other side. The
Zach
back side
Curlin?
of it. Zach Curlin, maybe.
Oh, yeah, Zach Curlin, yeah.
They're building the STEM, the science, technology, engineering, mathematics, where I'm assuming research is going to be done there. They're wrapping that up. So maybe that's all kind of a part of it, right? Like, just because you have R1 status, like, you need to be able to do active research.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the facility for it, you're probably not doing all the active possible research you can. So maybe it's something like that, right? Maybe they're just waiting on the R1 status to be in effect for X number of years. Obviously, academics are going up. Again, I don't know how much academics are playing a part of this, if we're being real honest with you, just due to the fact that ESPN, CBS, Fox, they're not signing contracts for academics. No one's out there watching the University of Memphis Knowledge Bowl.
Yeah.
Right.
Conference realignment is all about athletics.
It's money.
At one point, sure, and there may be institutions like Stanford that don't want to be associated with another university that's not at their tier, but academics is so far down the list. Like, you're not in a conference because of academics. It's about athletics.
Yeah, it's athletics, it's market. What can you do for our conference?
There's presidents that are in the discussions, but like the reality is the TV is driving this.
Sure.
To me, it felt like they were just talking about things that Memphis can control.
Sure.
Right? There's certain
well,
things.
that's all we can talk about.
That's
like,
what
you can
they
only
probably should
control what
focus
you
on.
can control. So where we sit right now, since the last time we've talked, is Cal at one point, it sounded like the Pac-4 was going to try to keep their Power 5 status, do some sort of merger with the American, take the top brands of the American, merge with the top brands of the Mountain West, and create sort of this new American conference, or this new PAC-AAC conference.
Pacific American.
Now the latest is that Cal and Stanford, in tandem with SMU, are headed to the ACC, which would put them at 17, so there's no way they're stopping there. But it also sounds like if that happens, that Yormark and the Big 12 are no longer looking west, but will start talking about potentially adding at least 2 teams on the east side of the U.S. So I don't think, and I'm not going to dive too into it, I don't think that this is over
Sure.
or even really honestly close to being over. And I would say at the end of the day, I think that we end up in a better situation. It may not be the best situation, but I think in a better situation that we're in right now.
What's a better situation? Like, what do you mean by that?
Whether it's a ACC leftover, or if TJ is going to hate this so much, if you're the very last team added to the Big 12, and I'm just saying, you're not just sitting here in the American with Rice and Charlotte, and like, you're going to be in a little bit of a better spot. You may not still be a have, but you're going to be closer to a have than you are right now.
Sure.
Whether that's with Boston College and Virginia Tech leftovers or what have you, Syracuse, whoever.
So you think the ACC is going to blow up?
Maybe.
I just don't see that. There's no way, because the SMU, Stanford, Cal, that's done. That's done. They're going to the ACC. Why would the ACC blow up?
It's not done
No,
yet, or
it's
it would
done.
be done.
It's done.
But it's not yet, or it would be
It's done.
Okay.
It's done. That they have no reason to break up at that point. They have too much to do to get out of that. You can't break that grant of rights. If they could, it would have been done by now. If you leave, you can't leave until 2025. You've got to pay out, and I understand some schools can afford the buyout of the ACC.
I mean, that's only 2 years away.
I understand, but that's just the earliest you could leave. You still can't get out of that grant of rights.
I'm not saying something's happening tomorrow, but I'm just saying over the next several
Yeah,
years, I don't
just-
think that this is over.
I think that there is a chance for Memphis, that is, that they could end up in a better situation. A better situation for me means more money.
Even
money.
if there's some merger with the Mountain West,
Yes,
and then you
that's
add
exactly what I
Washington
think
State
was
and
gonna
Oregon
happen.
State, that's a better situation than what you're in right now.
I think that's more likely to happen than
That's all I meant, was that we're not going to be in the American as it sits today with those teams
Yeah, it's probably true.
at the end of the day.
And I think that's what I would lean on, if anything. Like, could the American and the PAC, because the way the PAC's got to work is they have to have 8 teams to remain a Power 5 conference. So if they really want to push through with something like that, can you grab, I guess they have to have 6 teams from the American to get the PAC to 8?
Yeah.
And then that gives the
I mean,
Mountain
you're
West.
not getting the Mountain West teams for 2 years, probably, right? Because they've got the crazy, unless there's some sort of negotiation they're allowed to,
Unless they merge together.
or they do that.
And that finishes out. So I don't know how many schools are in the Mountain West. Is it 10?
I think it's 12.
12? So you've got 12 from the Mountain West, 8 between the Pac-2 and the 6 from the American that came over. You're at 20 there, right?
They have 11 teams.
That's weird. But you get my point. So you could bring over 7 from the American
Yeah.
and figure it out from there. And that's a conference. So I wouldn't be shocked one bit.
The
if that's
other
what ends up
interesting part of this that has since come up with the disbandment of the PAC is obviously the playoff was expanding to 12. It was going to be 6 auto conference champions. So it's the 5 Power 5s and then the top group of 5 conference champion as auto bids, and then 6 at large. I believe they're meeting to discuss moving to maybe a 5 and 7 format or some other. It could be 4 and 8. The G5 could lose. I mean, they could obviously potentially be an at large.
Yeah.
But that's also interesting to note that this is kind of shifting the playoff picture.
Yeah, I saw Dellinger put out that Z tweet.
Z.
What are we calling it?
I don't know.
That tweet.
That Z.
I kind of like jumping to the 5+7. I mean, I'm not
opposed to it. It still gives us a shot, right?
I mean, you kind of have to do that if the PAC's really going to be at 2 teams for.
Yeah.
Obviously they can't exist at that point.
I mean, and honestly, even if they had taken the top 4 or 5 brands from the American and merged with the Mountain West and had the 4, I don't know that they'd agreed to keep that a Power 5, really.
Yeah. That is the tricky part to it all. I for one am shocked that they are still talking about letting the group of 5 sit at the table because these brands are so big.
I think you have that's what's historically makes sports awesome.
Is it though?
Is yes, David Goliath.
The BCS wasn't about letting the little guy play.
And that's why the BCS is no longer.
I know. I gotta say that, but then the what was it 08 Boise, Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Statue of Liberty play, hook and ladder.
Yep.
Ian Johnson proposing to his girlfriend. So many memories.
What a story.
Who was the quarterback? Was Z? His last name was Z. Zelensky.
Something like that. That sounds right.
Man, I'm pulling these things from the back of my Zabransky. Jared Zabransky.
That Zelensky.
This stuff is back here, dude. Deep down in there. Jared Zabransky. Yeah, I mean, I think that you have to give the little guy a seat at the table because they can always shock you, right? USC looked like a pretty damn good football team outside of the defense last year, and then Tulane came in and smacked them.
Yeah.
Well, came from behind. And
Oh, and beat the freaking Big 12 champion.
yeah, beat Kansas State.
At Kansas State in Manhattan.
So it's fun to get
In the
stuff
little,
like
in the
that,
little
man.
apple.
It's fun.
It is. All right, Tej, we've got week 1 officially here. I'm so sorry for you. But it is time for Fade TJ and hashtag Thunder Picks. I'm 1-0. I think last week was a very, very easy pick. And
Was it? Was it easy?
Yeah. I mean, Notre Dame minus 20.5. That was about as easy as a hit as you could have had. You, on the other hand,
Let me tell you folks a story. The UMass Minutemen have not won a road game against
an opening road game.
an opening road game against a how would you word that?
An FBS opponent
An FBS opponent
since
since
1973.
1973. So we're talking 50 years. I thought I was safe. 50 years of data.
That's not just it. They haven't beaten an FBS opponent week 1, period, at home since 84.
yeah,
For nearly 40 years.
it was. They are
TJ
0-50
thought he had the safest bet ever.
against the opening game, and they won.
That's why this is
They won.
That's why this is Fade TJ and Thunder Picks.
You will
So-
never find an 0-50 or 50-0, however you want to look at it.
Well, that's assuming that they opened with an FBS opponent every single one of those years, which I doubt that that's true.
Whatever, dude. It doesn't matter. The stat was. It looked flawless, and they obviously didn't win, and I lost, and I've grieved for days. So for the fade,
Interesting. TJ's more upset about UMass winning an opening week football game than he is about any Tigers loss in the history of his fandom.
probably financially.
Interesting. All right. So what's your Fade TJ pick for this week?
I'm getting weird. I think I like Nebraska to cover the 7.5. I think is what the line was against Minnesota.
I think that is what it. Yeah, I'm seeing 7.5.
I saw 8, but whatever. I'm not going to complain.
8's a weird number.
8 is a weird number. Nebraska has Jeff Sims, the former Georgia Tech quarterback.
And Matt Rule.
Matt Rule. I just some good
Who's
things
good
that
at
are
the
going to
college-
happen
at
there.
the collegiate level.
And I don't think Minnesota's very good. I think PJ Fleck's a fraud.
He had his little flash in the pan there. What 3 years
Yeah,
ago?
row the boat.
Row that thing.
That thing is sank. He needs to be fired.
TJ says the boat's got a hole in it.
It's got a big old hole. Nebraska plus 7.5.
All right.
I'm gonna redeem myself.
My official Thunder pick of the week. I'm going with a third. We're both going with a Thursday night game.
it's
I'm
the
going.
easiest one to watch.
Yeah. Well, there's multiple though. I'm not going with the Nebraska Minnesota. I'm going with the Florida at Utah over 45.5. I think they're going to hit that over. And then if you want a weekend game, I'd just to keep an eye on. And this is a little bit of American Conference implications. Not really. I mean, it doesn't, not from an American Conference standpoint, but potentially from like a group of 5 ranking standpoint. Tulane doesn't have any walk in the park on Saturday down there at Yeoman Stadium. They got South Alabama Jaguars coming to town. That's a 10-win ball club from last year, and they're bringing back 18 starters. I guess 6.5 on that line. I mean, if you want to sprinkle a little money line on South Alabama, I wouldn't be mad at you. It's just a little bonus Thunder pick there.
Yeah, shout out to Javon Ivory down there.
Even if you see Seco, he gonna have a big game.
No, he's not. No, he won't.
Yeah,
I've fallen for that trap way too many times. No,
right, just like a normal okay game, like a 4-catch.
3 catches, 30 yards.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned.
That's okay. But the Jags, they could pull it out.
Yeah,
game to watch.
They are a very good team in the grand scheme of things. So I don't think that's going to be the easiest game in the world for them by any means.
Yeah, no cakewalk at all. All right, Tej, a little bit of basketball news. Malco is officially back, and it's time for Daddy, would you like some sausage? Have you already played with this sausage, TJ?
I have not played with the sausage today.
If you add, we are currently at 31. What?
Nothing, man.
If you add Malco back as a senior, any guesses as where it moves us? Or if it moves us at all?
What are we at now?
We're at 31 in the ranking of the sausage.
I'm going to say it's not going to be the biggest needle mover just because I'm assuming this has Deandre coming back. This has Brown here. And it's like, what kind of...
Deandre's not on here.
Okay, well, Brown's still going to be the heavy minutes man down there. And that's kind of what they measure things off of. 3 spots?
One
spot, yeah.
31 to 30.
Yeah, it's all about contribution. So I just don't foresee him adding a ton of
So not a big, I mean, I love it. I'm glad, I think I'm always for the Memphis guys coming back, being in Memphis. We'll see how it works out. We talked about it before. Brown he's played 32, 33 minutes a night.
Yeah.
And we don't know where Malco's health really stands. He's obviously struggled the last couple of years. So if he's able to come in and give you 6, 7, 8 minutes a night, and that's all you need from him, get him a bucket or two, get a couple of rebounds, be a force in the paint for 8 minutes, I'll take it.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it's cool that he is a Memphian, but he's also played in 100 games.
Yeah.
That's an experienced body. You're not going to ask much from him, so you're not going to get much from him necessarily. And if you do, it's fun, right? I think if you look at his per 40, not that he's ever going to play 40 minutes, it's like 16 and 10.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, that's what I like. We don't need Malco to come in and be an all conference guy.
But that just shows you that he can be productive.
Get your 8 to 10, let Brown, Deandre, whoever get a breather.
Yeah.
Make those a productive 8 to 10 minutes, and that's all we need.
And it's something that you and I have talked about a lot. It's continuity on this team.
Yeah.
There's rarely been these rollover, carryover guys from the previous year, which I guess could be seen as a good thing sometimes. But, we like it. We like guys who can say, hey, this is how it's been the last couple of years. How can we change it, make it better kind of situation.
But all that to say, I don't dislike it, but it's also not like a total game changer. Obviously,
No, it is what it is.
The game changer and the one sausage link that is left would be getting that notice that Deandre has another year.
Jeez. When do you think we're going to find that out?
As long as it is
the 28th of August right now.
Do you think he's in class now? How does that work?
That is a
Did he register for class with the expectation that you would have to, right? You got to be enrolled already.
I think he is enrolled. I think this has been researched. I think he's enrolled.
I think he would have to be. You can't.
Yeah,
Can't be too late. I would. Honestly, I have no idea. I don't even know what to predict. I would say, hopefully, by the time practice is starting in October, you've got some sort of answer. But honestly, we've talked about it before. Even the first time he got cleared, he didn't get cleared by the NCAA ruling him looking at his case and deeming him eligible. He got cleared by the transfer rule. So there's no telling. That was in December. We were 2 weeks into December when that happened. There's no telling how long that first time around would have gone. So I would like to see it by the time middle October rolls around. But
October?
even if you gave me him not until, is that a long time?
I want to know before then.
Well, obviously you want to know before then, but we're talking about the NCAA, Timothy.
When's the first game?
November. Do we have an exhibition on October 30th or something?
That's what I'm saying.
you don't need him for freaking Lemoyne Owen.
I don't know that he's in basketball shape.
He better be. Is he allowed to practice?
As of right now, he's just a student.
Couldn't he just be like, they call him a GA and then he gets eligible and he's playing?
Hey, they've done that with football. I think it was West Virginia or someone had a GA that jumped
my
over to
point
play
is, I would
quarterback.
hope that DeAndre's not just sitting at home doing nothing,
No.
waiting on the NCAA to give some.
Sure,
They've
I'm
already
sure he's
slid
not
into his
doing-
DMs. He's out there working out. He's working on his game.
Yeah, it's just not the same.
Even if they don't clear him until like the second semester, I'll take it. Give me more DeAndre.
I would love him.
Give me more Kramer on the court. Not a
I need him
Seinfeld guy.
before October if possible.
I told Penny that the other day that DeAndre reminds me of Kramer. You don't see it?
No.
They got crazy hair.
It's the crazy hair.
antics,
Yeah, that's what.
and his facial expressions and all the stuff he does on the court. It's very Kramer-esque. That sort of thing.
No.
The dumb fouls.
The dumb fouls I get.
So, world-renowned, respected voice of college basketball, Fox Sports, John Fanta,
John Fanta doesn't know what he's talking about.
came out this week and said, sources are telling me.
Nobody's got sources that are giving any indication anyway.
Yeah,
He's
I'm not-
hearing it from like Jeff Goodman or somebody. He's like, oh, I don't think he's going to be eligible.
John Calipari called him.
Yeah, exactly.
Cal's not doing that.
I don't.
I mean, if John Fanta said it, though, like, that's, I mean, it has to shake your 100% confidence.
Where did
right?
Big Game Boomer rank John Fanta in the college basketball world?
Very good point.
Not even on the list.
Because we know where he ranked Tigers Untapped.
Not even on the list.
Oh, no.
So that doesn't shake your confidence?
That he said that? No. I don't think anybody has any idea right now.
Yeah, it just seems all dicey to me personally, but I just want it before October. That's way too close to the season.
I don't know that you're getting that, so no promises there. Just before the season ends would be great.
All right.
All right, let's get in this this
Forger.
brewski.
Forger is a honey rye
This
ale, by the way. I didn't mention
Can
that
is
earlier.
wild.
This can I think it requires drugs.
I think the can was made while on drugs. Somebody was in a K-hole with
A
this.
K-hold. I knew that was going to come in a conversation. Yeah, so there's a.
TJ and I just learned what a K-hole was.
We did. We are not we're not too familiar with ketamine. We learned about ketamine. There's a guy wearing sunglasses and a bee.
He's
this
a
is
bee.
someone's real face.
I mean, that it honestly, it looks a little bit like you. If your mane wasn't so washed and straightened and you were kind of going fluffed out, this is you on this can.
Okay. There's a lot going on with the can. I kind of like the can.
I
It's
like
fun.
the colors behind it. It is a little druggy for me, it seems.
Yeah.
But it's a good can.
It's definitely druggy.
Can wise, I'm going. It's like a 7-1 can. It's a good can.
I like it a little more than that. I was going to say a 7.6 can. It is. There's just a lot going on. I don't know if you can even tell.
It's very floral, very bee heavy. I get it. It's a
With the
honey.
honey
It's a honey
rye.
rye ale.
Yeah.
It's a great beer. This is delicious.
Yeah, this is a very drinkable beer. Very, very drinkable beer.
I mean, I might bring a 6 of these on Saturday.
Yeah, if you're talking just the crushability scale, very high on the crushability scale, 5.6%. So just average. I mean, I think that's about normal.
How
right?
old are these, by the way? I mentioned the destruction that these cans
No,
have, the mold on here.
It's not
Where did you
mold.
get these?
I don't recall, honestly. Kroger's, maybe?
Did they come like this, or when you dropped them?
I can't call it. I may have dropped them.
Excuse me?
I can't
Call it? What does that mean?
I can't tell you that, man. I don't know. I may have dropped them. I don't recall dropping them, but they've definitely
these
been through
cans
hell.
are beat to shit.
Yeah, they've definitely been through hell.
If I have stomach troubles tomorrow, it's because TJ gave me this beer that is several years old and he found in a back alley somewhere.
It's a good beer. A part of me wants to say like an 8.1, but I don't. I mean, that seems
Eight's-
kind of high, but it's
8
pretty
is getting
good.
up there. I was going to say 7-9.
Yeah. So 7.9 for you, 8.1 for me. It's a pretty good
It's a
beer.
good brew. Go out there and get you a Forger.
You know what? I may build a 6-pack and bring it to the game this
And
weekend.
give it away.
And give it away. Just someone write their name down. I'll raffle it out and just
No,
randomly pull
you got
it
to
out.
get them to do something. You got to show up to the tailgate and do something to get it.
Just show up. I'm going to give away free beer to anyone over 21, that is.
Just the first person that shows up.
No, I'm going to raffle. They're going to write the name on a piece of paper. I'm just going to blindly pull it out.
All right. Well, show up at the tailgate, put your name on a piece of paper, and DJ will
I'll
give
give
you
you free beer.
a sixer. It'll be a Tigers Untapped unofficial create your own from Kroger.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where I get it from. I may choose other sources.
Okay. All right. If you haven't already, like, subscribe on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast, comment, rate it, share it. Head over to bluffcitymedia.co. Check out all the articles. Like we mentioned earlier, Blake's got a preview for this week's game, Grizzlies content on the Bluff guys. Check it all out. We will see you next week. Come with a cold beer. And Saturday. We'll see you Saturday. D27.
1-0.
Come with a cold beer. Stay with hot takes. Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode of Tigers Untapped, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Like and subscribe at Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports.